Welcome to Athens Generating. The video you are about to see has been developed to assist you in maintaining a safe and healthful work experience while here. It reflects our strong commitment to ensuring the health and safety of you as well as those around you while at our facility. This video will provide you with valuable and necessary information, including facility buildings and hazard areas, warning and informational signs, safe work requirements, and emergency procedures. At the conclusion of this video, you will be required to pass a test and sign an acknowledgement form stating that you have reviewed and understand plant safety policies and procedures as presented in this video. This acknowledgement is good for 1 year, and you will be provided a sticker specific to Athens Generating to apply to your hard hat, indicating you have completed this safety introduction. Throughout this video, you will hear references to your plant contact. Who is your plant contact? Your plant contact will usually be the individual assigned to you at the start of your work at the facility. Your plant contact is the individual responsible for your work at the facility and who is your primary contact for information exchange in relation to safety at the facility. Athens Generating is a combined cycle power generation facility utilizing natural gas as its primary fuel source. It is a complex facility consisting of several buildings and numerous major components, including an administrative building, a power block, a switchyard, air-cooled condensing units, chemical storage tanks, and ancillary equipment. The nature of a combined cycle power generation facility presents numerous hazards that contractors must be aware of. This includes high voltage electricity, high pressure, high temperature steam, high pressure natural gas, hazardous chemicals, and confined spaces. Safety equipment is located throughout the facility. This includes fire alarm pole stations, fire extinguishers, emergency showers and eye wash stations, and intercom handsets. Be sure and locate these facilities near your work area in case they're needed in an emergency. At various locations in the plant, you will find Athens Generating orange sheets. Please take the time to review and utilize these sheets to make recommendations. These recommendations will be incorporated into our continuous safety and quality of life programs. Let's take a brief tour of the facility to familiarize you with the basic layout and the location of hazardous areas. As you approach the gate, there is a call box located to your left. Press the red button and the control room will answer. Inform them of the company you work for, and they will open the gate to allow you to enter. After you pass through the main gate, the fuel oil storage tank is located immediately to your right. Contractor parking is also located immediately to the right of the main gate along the west fence line. The main gate is also the primary evacuation point in the event of an emergency. Proceeding to the left on the west road, to your right is the administration building and warehouse. It is in this building that you will find both the administrative offices and the control room. Proceeding north to your left is the change shack. This building houses the contractor break room, parts storage, and various contractor offices. Continuing on your left is the clarifier feed tank and the filtered firewater tank. The building to the right of the tanks is the water treatment building, which also houses the facility fire pump. Directly in front of you is the air-cooled condenser with miscellaneous storage underneath. To your right are the mobile water treatment trailers, and to the right of the trailers is the Demon water storage tank. South of the Demon water storage tank are the 3 power blocks. They are numbered 1, 2, 3 from west to east. Continuing on the west road to your left is the North Pond Outfall number 3. Alongside this pond is the access trail to the secondary evacuation gate. Turning right onto the North Road and to your left is the waste storage area. East of the storage area is the gas metering station. It is enclosed by a secure fence, and entrance is prohibited. Further east is the plant gas building, with the fin-fan coolers to the north, with the cylinder storage area directly along the north road. Turning right onto the east road, the condensate building for power block number 3 is on your right. Next on your right are the 3 ammonia tanks for the power blocks. Turning right onto the south road, the transformers for the power blocks are to your right, and the 345 kV switchyard is to your left. This area is surrounded by a secure fence, and access is prohibited without special authorization. The facility is bounded on 4 sides by roadways referred to by their location. The west road runs parallel with the front of the administrative building, followed clockwise by the north, east, and south roads. These roadways must be kept clear at all times. Upon arrival, all personnel must report and sign in at the front desk. For contractors with large numbers of employees, a list of personnel working will be given to the control room operator, and the contractor supervisor will sign in at the front desk at the start of each day. All employees or contractor supervisors must also sign out when leaving the site for the day. Contractor supervisors are responsible for the accountability of all their on-site personnel. This is the control room. It is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and serves as the command center for facility emergencies and all operational activities. If there are any emergencies or injuries, the control room must be notified. The control room phone number is located on your permit. In the library and online, you will find the facility emergency response plans, emergency data sheets, and environmental compliance plans. You may review these documents by requesting them from the control room operator. If you have any questions or have an emergency, the control room is the place to contact. Only those personnel authorized by the control room operator may operate plant equipment. Operators will be made available to operate or secure equipment for you should the need arise. Due to the significant risk of harm from unauthorized access, employees, contractors, and visitors shall not bring transient cyber assets or removable media to Athens Generating and connect them to the facility's electronic systems unless expressly permitted to do so with management approval. Removable media devices include but are not limited to the following: external hard drives, USB, flash drives, and SD cards, CDs and DVDs, laptop and other mobile computing devices, and any other data storage media. Firearms and alcohol are prohibited from the facility at all times. Horseplay is strictly prohibited. Violations of Athens Generating Safety rules may lead to disciplinary actions up to and including dismissal. Eating, drinking, and smoking are not allowed in your work area, in vehicles, or when walking to and from the parking areas. Smoking is allowed outside of the east side of the control room, southeast of Unit 3 on the fence line, and on the southern end of the westernmost building along the West Road. Your plant contact can point these areas out to you. All contractor supervisors are responsible to ensure their on-site employees are properly trained in accordance with regulatory standards for the work they will perform. As a minimum, all on-site personnel must be trained in hazard communication, personal protective equipment, confined space awareness, lockout-tagout awareness, and basic electrical safety. Additional training such as fall protection and confined space entry may also be required depending upon the scope of your work. Before beginning any work at the facility, you must obtain a safe work permit. This is available from the control room and will identify the job location, type of work to be performed, and what safety precautions must be taken by the permit holder. This may include the need for a lockout-tagout, hot work permit, or confined space entry permit. Additionally, a JHA, Job Hazard Analysis, must be completed. This form describes in detail the step-by-step job sequence to complete the job, along with any potential hazards that may be encountered and safety measures needed. Work requiring impairment of any fire protection equipment must be authorized by the plant manager. All tools and equipment brought into Athens Generating must meet all applicable standards. Hand and power tools must be in good condition with proper electrical cords. All factory guards and safety devices must be in place and in proper working order. Any electrical tools used outside or in a wet environment must utilize GFCI protection. Tools may not be modified without factory authorization. Athens Generating reserves the right to inspect all tools and equipment on site for compliance with safety standards. Contractors may not use facility tools without prior approval from your plant contact. Tarps, masonite, and/or cardboard should be placed over metal grating in order to prevent tools and material from falling through the grating and striking employees walking and/or working below. Protection from falling debris and tools must be provided when working from scaffolding, elevated metal grating, and work platforms. Use of tethered tools is preferred when working from heights. Ladders used at the facility must be non-conductive and have a minimum Class 1 rating. Ladders must be inspected prior to every use. Ladders found to have defects must be removed from service and either tagged or removed from the site. Extension ladders must be placed at the proper climbing angle and tied off where possible. When tying off a ladder is not possible, the ladder must be spotted by a second individual positioned at the base of the ladder. If scaffolding is required, it must be erected in accordance with OSHA requirements by a qualified individual. All scaffolding must be inspected daily prior to use. Prior to using scaffolding, check the tag to ensure it has been inspected and for any special equipment required or if any hazardous conditions exist. Fall protection must be used when erecting and dismantling a scaffold and when working from scaffolding unless compliant guardrails have been installed. Athens Generating places a high priority on communicating hazards to employees, contractors, and visitors on site. This is primarily accomplished through signs and labels posted throughout areas of the facility. This includes signs indicating hazardous locations or areas, such as confined spaces and restricted areas. The need for specific protective equipment, such as hearing protection, hard hats, and safety glasses. The contents of pipelines and storage tanks, such as water, steam, natural gas, and hazardous chemicals. The limitations or restrictions on equipment or energy isolating devices. And information regarding parking, access, and smoking restrictions. Yellow and black barrier tape is utilized to denote a hazard in the area, requiring caution to be used. If necessary, you may enter an area cordoned off with this tape, provided caution is utilized. Red and black barrier tape is utilized to cordon off a restricted area. You are not allowed to enter such an area unless specifically authorized to do so by the individual who placed the barricade tape. Tags must be added to the tape indicating a contact person, the danger present, date, and time. Tags may be placed on equipment such as ladders or scaffolds to indicate they are not to be utilized. Always check for warning tags prior to utilizing any scaffolding or ladders at the facility. Always be aware of signage and labels posted in your work area and heed the information and warnings they provide. Should an emergency occur during your work here, it is important that you take the correct and timely actions necessary to limit the potential impact of the emergency on the safety of yourself, plant personnel, and the operation of the facility. In the event of an emergency, you will be notified through the two-way radio issued to you or your supervisor, or through an announcement over the Gatronic system. The following sound is the fire alarm. The next sound is the evacuation alarm. And the last sound is the all clear. Following such notification, you must immediately report to the primary muster point for accountability. Should you need to report an emergency, you must contact the control room immediately through your assigned two-way radio or by cell phone, dialing 518-945-3756. If necessary, an announcement can be made using the Gatronic system by lifting the handset, depressing the key on the handle, and speaking clearly into the receiver. Such a notification should include the exact nature and location of the emergency. Following the notification, initial protective actions, such as isolating the affected area or immediate evacuation, should be taken while awaiting plant personnel response. All Athens Generating employees are trained and certified in basic first aid, CPR, the facility's AED, as well as incipient stage firefighting and hazardous materials response. Unless specifically trained in the use of fire extinguishers, contractor personnel should not attempt to extinguish a fire at the facility. Rather, the fire should be immediately reported to the control room and the area evacuated. Any injury must be reported to the control room and your plant contact. Athens Generating stores and utilizes numerous oils, hazardous chemicals, and compressed gases on site. These may be in the form of small quantity packaging, 55-gallon drums, 300- and 400-gallon totes, or fixed bulk tanks. These include flammable and combustible liquids, corrosive materials, oxidizing agents, toxic or irritating materials, and flammable compressed gases. All chemical storage containers are clearly labeled showing the chemical name and primary hazards. These labels may consist of factory labels, HMIS labels, or NFPA 704 labels. All contractors operating at Athens Generating have access to our safety data sheets, which are located in the facility library, by contacting their plant contact or the control room operator. Any contractor bringing hazardous chemicals on site must receive approval from their plant contact prior to the materials being brought on site. Athens Generating may require specific handling procedures for some materials, including secondary containment systems and the availability of spill response materials. Hazardous chemicals, including flammable and combustible liquids, must be handled and stored in compliance with applicable regulatory standards. If you transfer a chemical from its original container to another container, the secondary container must be labeled with the name of the material. The label must also identify all hazards associated with handling the material. Waste generated by a contractor must be handled in accordance with all regulatory requirements. Never dump oils, solvents, or other chemicals down any drains or sumps. Prior approval for storage and disposal of all wastes must be coordinated with your plant contact. Specific personal protective equipment is required to be worn while working at this facility. All required equipment and training in its use must be provided by the contractor. A hard hat meeting the requirements of ANSI Z89.1 Class B or Class E, and safety glasses meeting ANSI Z87.1 with hard side shields must be worn throughout the facility, with the exception of the control room and administrative areas. Hearing protection is required to be worn in high noise areas. These areas are clearly marked at all entrance points. Steel-toed leather work shoes with hard soles must be worn in all areas at all times. Task-specific protective equipment may also be required based upon the scope of your work at the facility. This may include the use of protective gloves to protect against burns or cuts, face shields and foam-backed safety glasses or goggles when grinding or cutting, chemical protective clothing when handling hazardous chemicals, and filter lenses when welding or performing other hot work. If a tight-fitting respirator is required, users must be medically approved to wear a respirator, properly trained, fit-tested, and clean-shaven. Additionally, sleeved shirts and long pants of natural fiber or fire-retardant material are required while working at the facility. Fall protection is required whenever work is performed from an elevated location. This may be in the form of fall prevention, such as a compliant guardrail system, or through the use of fall arresting equipment, including a full body harness and deceleration device. When working from a man lift, the work area below must be taped off, and tethered tools should be utilized. When utilizing a fall arrest system, the equipment must be in good condition. The harness must be properly fitted, and the anchor point must ensure the maximum freefall distance does not exceed 6 feet. Fall protection must also be utilized when working in an elevated basket of an extensible or articulating boom platform. All industrial vehicles used on the site, including excavators and forklifts, must be in proper working order and inspected every day prior to use. This inspection must include all operational and safety equipment. Industrial vehicles must be operated in strict compliance with applicable safety regulations, including the use of seat belts. Plant inspection forms must be filled out prior to the use of Athens vehicles and cranes. The plant speed limit of 10 miles per hour must be observed while operating any motor vehicles on site. Any subsurface work performed at the plant utilizes an excavation permit and must have the approval of a competent plant employee prior to the start of the job. This includes digging, trenching, jackhammering, and post-driving. The contractor must notify the plant contact, who will identify the job location, type of work being performed, and what safety precautions must be taken prior to issuing such a permit. All contractors are required to maintain a neat and orderly work site. Materials must be neatly stored, with aisles, exits, and emergency equipment maintained clear. This includes fire extinguishers, sprinkler risers, and fire hydrants. Work resulting in an area being unsafe for general access, such as wet or slippery floors, overhead work, or hot work operations, must be cordoned off with appropriate warning tape. Flammable liquids must be stored in designated storage lockers, and compressed gas cylinders must be stored in designated locations and secured to prevent tipping. All permit-required confined spaces at Athens Generating are clearly labeled. Should your work require you to enter a permit-required confined space, you must notify the control room operator. The control room operator will assist you in identifying the requirements of the space, reviewing the permit procedures, isolating the space hazards, and discussing all aspects of the entry with you. The plant will provide a radio for use by the attendant in the event of an emergency, and an on-site rescue team will be established prior to the beginning of work. All parts of the permit must be completed, and the permit posted at the entry portal during entry. All permits expire at the end of the work shift and must be returned to the control room. A new permit must be obtained at the beginning of each shift change. Entry into any permit-required confined space must be performed in accordance with applicable OSHA regulations, including use of non-entry retrieval systems when applicable, proper ventilation, continuous atmospheric monitoring, and providing accountability by signing in and out of the space as required. Only individuals trained in confined space entry may serve as authorized entrants or attendants. Should an accident occur within a permitted confined space, the attendant must not enter the space. The control room should be notified immediately and the rescue plan implemented. Prior to any work involving welding, cutting, burning, heating, or any open flame, the contractor must notify the control room operator and obtain a hot work permit. The control room operator will identify the job location, the type of work being performed, and any additional safety precautions that must be taken prior to issuing a hot work permit. If hot work is being performed near combustible material or outside of designated hot work areas, the contractor will be required to supply a fire watch. This watch must be posted during all activities and for a 30-minute post-work period. At the end of this period, the fire watch must sign off the permit and notify the control room that the work is completed. Anytime welding is performed at the facility, the contractor must provide adequate shields and curtains to protect passers-by and those working or traveling below. Fire extinguishers for hot work will be obtained through your plant contact. Installed fire extinguishers are for emergency use only. Hazardous energy control is an important safety precaution at this facility. A lockout-tagout procedure is designed to protect personnel from exposure to various energies, including electrical, thermal, hydraulic, and pneumatic, as well as the accidental startup of equipment or machinery being worked on. If you're working on equipment that requires lockout-tagout, you must request it from the control room operator. The control room operator will arrange to have all lockout-tagout performed for you. You, as a requester, can request more stringent lockout-tagout requirements if you desire. You cannot request less stringent requirements. Equipment that is under lockout-tagout shall be affixed with a lock and tag at all energy-isolating devices, preventing energization of the equipment. A designated plant operator shall perform all such isolations. Any device bearing a Do Not Operate tag must not be operated at any time. The operation of any device tagged as Danger Do Not Operate will result in disciplinary action, including immediate dismissal and possible exclusion from any future work at this facility. You are encouraged to ensure the lockout is in place at the start of each day. Contractor supervisors and/or individual contractor personnel must sign on and off individual clearances. Lockout-tagout will not be cleared until the contractor releases the equipment back to the plant. Contractors must notify the control room operator when work is complete or when leaving the plant to determine if clearance sign-off is required. Never work on any system once you or your supervisor has cleared off the lockout-tagout. Once you have cleared off the lockout, you are no longer authorized to perform work on the systems. We appreciate your time and attention in viewing this video. If you have any questions or concerns relating to your work here, please discuss them with your plant contact at this time. Thank you, and have a safe and productive experience at Athens Generating.